Welcome to the Kendra Woods Show. I'm Kendra Woods, and this is a space for high-achieving women navigating success, self-doubt, and the pressure that often lives beneath it. On this show, we explore the hidden patterns that shape how you lead your life, make decisions, and relate to success. Because success isn't just what you build, it's how you lead yourself. And here, we learn to lead ourselves well. Welcome back to the Kendra Woods Show, where we talk about the hidden patterns that shape how high-achieving women lead themselves, trust themselves, and expand into their next level without building everything from pressure. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to invite you into two spaces. First, if you've been listening to this show and you already know that this is the deeper work that you're ready for, Lead Like Her is my 6-week leadership experience for the woman who's no longer available to lead her life, her business, or her next level from pressure, proving, urgency, or self-abandonment. This is where we do the work of building calm authority, internal steadiness, self-trust, and the capacity to hold more without abandoning yourself in the process. You can DM me on Instagram with the word lead, and I'll send you the details, or you can click the link in the show notes to learn more. And second, if you missed my free workshop that happened yesterday, From Pressure to Power, the replay is currently available, but only through tomorrow, Friday, May 22nd. So make sure you listen to that while it's still up. The link will also be in the show notes for you to access that. Okay, now let's get into today's conversation, because today I want to talk about something I know so many high-achieving women like you experience, and they don't always know how to name. You may be resisting the very thing you say you want. And it's not because you're lazy, not because you're confused, not because you're uncommitted, not because you don't want it badly enough, but because a part of you does not yet feel safe holding what your next level will require from you. And this is a very different conversation, because when we talk about resistance, we often make it too shallow and surface level. We say things like, just take action, just get out of your own way, feel the fear and do it anyways, just stop overthinking, just do the thing. And while action matters, and it does matter a lot, I'm a big, really passionate about okay, let's take some action. So while action matters, that advice doesn't reach a deeper layer, right? There's another layer here, because sometimes the issue is not that you do not know what to do. Sometimes the issue is that the thing you want is asking you to become a version of yourself that your body, your identity, your structure, and your nervous system have not fully learned how to hold yet. And that is what we're going to unpack today. So let's talk about what the pattern is. Here is how this can show up. You say you want the next level, whatever that is for you. You say you want to be maybe more visible. You say you want to sell the offer. You say you want to lead more powerfully. You say you want to stop hiding. You say you want to be seen as the woman you know you are becoming. But then when it comes time to move, something happens. You start overthinking, you rework the plan, you decide that you need more clarity, you convince yourself now might not be the right time, you wait for just one more sign. You tell yourself you need to feel more grounded first. You keep polishing the thing that was already ready. You keep revisiting the decision you already made. And on the surface, it may look like procrastination, but underneath, what I know is that something deeper is happening. Your system is trying to protect you from the expansion that you asked for. And that's because the next level does not just ask you to want more. It asks you to hold more visibility, more responsibility, more self-trust, more uncertainty, more leadership, more success, more emotional steadiness, more decisions without immediate validation. And so for many high-achieving women, that is the part that feels confronting, okay? Not the desire itself, but the capacity required to hold the desire. Because wanting something and feeling internally safe enough to hold it are not always the same thing. You can deeply want the next level and still have a part of you that is actually bracing against it. You can deeply desire growth and still feel afraid of being more seen. You may know you're meant for more and still feel your body kind of contract a little bit when it's time to actually move. Now, this does not mean that your desire is wrong. It just means that your system needs to be led differently. And here is where this becomes costly. Let's talk about the cost of this. When you do not understand your resistance, you start making it mean something about your character. And I say this all the time to women in my mentoring spaces, when maybe I'm coaching them through a particular situation, I will say to them, okay, well, what are you making that mean about you? It's the meaning. So you might tell yourself, gosh, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? Why can't I just be consistent? Why do I say I want this, but then I avoid it? Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I don't actually want it, right? Like that has crossed my mind several times when I think about my own vision. Maybe I don't actually want it. Start questioning yourself. And this is where high functioning self doubt gets very subtle. Because now you're not just dealing with the original fear, you're dealing with the fear and then the shame about having the fear. It's a double whammy, right? And that shame creates even more internal noise. And this is how the loop starts. You think about the thing you need to do, your body contracts, you delay. The delay gives you temporary relief. Then the desire comes back. Then the fear comes back. Then the pressure comes back. And then you delay again. And so every time you avoid the thing, your body gets a little bit of relief. And you also keep reinforcing to your body that, yep, this is what we are available for. So you get a little bit of relief. You're also sending the signal to your body that, yep, we're not available for this. But what's not happening is your capacity does not grow. And this is the part we have to understand. Avoidance can soothe you in the moment, but it does not build the internal capacity to hold what you say you want. It keeps the fear loop open. The desire is still there. The invitation is still there. The next level is still there. But your body keeps circling the same alarm because it has not experienced enough safety, completion, or grounded movement around the thing you are trying to step into. And this is why resistance can feel so exhausting. Because it's not just the action that you're avoiding, it's the internal negotiation around the action. It is a constant back and forth. Should I do this? Should I wait? Is this the right time? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? What if people judge me? What if I succeed and now I have to keep sustaining it? All of that is an energy leak. Not because you need support. And I want to talk about support for a moment. I want to be very clear about that. Because needing your environment, your schedule, your body, and your business to support the woman you are becoming is not indulgent. It is leadership. It's leadership. The energy leak is pretending you don't need support. The energy leak is trying to become your next level self while your environment, your schedule, your commitments, your body, and your business are still organized around the old version of you. So now you're trying to rise while fighting friction everywhere. What you want is to lead with calm authority, right? But your calendar keeps you in urgency. What you want is to trust yourself, right? But your environment is full of noise and distraction. You want to move from personal power, but your body is depleted. You want to grow the business, but the structure of the business keeps pulling you into last minute decisions, overextension, and pressure. So at this stage, the work is not always about adding more. It's not always about it's not at this stage, it's not about adding more strategy, more content, more offers, more proving, more intensity, more of anything. Sometimes what I find that is that the next level is asking for refinement. You get to a certain level where it's not about adding more of anything. What's being asked of you is for you to refine. And what that looks like is having cleaner standards, having cleaner energy, cleaner boundaries, cleaner structure, cleaner support, because your energy has to be protected, directed, and supported, not constantly recovering after it's been leaked. So, one of the reasons that this pattern is so powerful is because many high achieving, high functioning women have been trained to move through pressure. My background is in corporate, and you best believe in the corporate world, that is exactly how we're conditioned to show up. We've been conditioned and trained to move through pressure, to move through performance, to move through productivity. And so because of that, pressure has become familiar. Urgency feels productive. Stress gives you a sense of direction. A deadline activates you. Having to prove something gives you fuel. And so when you've spent years moving that way, calm can feel very strange. Calm can feel like nothing is happening. Spaciousness can feel irresponsible. Ease can feel suspicious. A regulated body can feel unproductive when your system has been conditioned to associate pressure with progress. So when you begin moving differently, when you begin choosing calm authority, when you begin choosing steadiness over urgency, a part of you may panic. And not because calm is wrong, but because calm is unfamiliar. And this is such an important distinction. Sometimes your nervous system will confuse unfamiliar with unsafe. So the next level may not feel like fireworks. It may feel like quiet. It may feel like space. It may feel like you are not rushing. It may feel like you were not spiraling. It may feel like you are not creating chaos just to prove you're doing enough. And at first, that can feel uncomfortable. And we've been here in Italy now for almost 6 months. It'll be 6 months next week. And I got to tell you, there's been a lot of changes that I've made in myself. My identity has shifted. I've stepped into a new way of being, and I've stepped into my own next level. And it does feel quiet. It does feel spacious. I'm not rushing around, I'm not spiraling over things. Like I'm being more curious and intentional about things. And I have had moments where that old version of me is like, wait, like what's going on? Like what's wrong? Like things are too quiet. Maybe things aren't working. Maybe I need to do more. Like that old identity, right, wants to come up. And so it does feel uncomfortable. But the reason why it feels uncomfortable is because pressure gives us the illusion of control. But self-trust asks for something different. Self-trust asks you to move without the old fuel. Self-trust asks you to lead yourself without needing fear to chase you. Self-trust asks you to take the grounded next step before every part of you feels certain. And this is why this work is deeper than motivation. You listening right now to this episode, you're not trying to become more motivated. What's actually happening is you're trying to become more available to your own expansion without having to operate from pressure, urgency, control, or self-abandonment. And that is the real work. So then the natural question becomes, okay, Kendra, so what do I do with resistance? Here's what you don't do. You don't shame it. You do not override it. You do not obey it. You learn how to lead it. That is the shift. Because fear does not need to run the room, but it also does not need to be exiled from the room either. Fear needs a place to speak so it stops leading from the background. So instead of saying, I should not feel this way, you pause and you ask and you say, what is this part of me trying to protect? What does this part of me think will happen if I actually move? What would help my body feel more resourced here in this moment? What is the grounded next step, not the pressured step? What support, structure, or standard needs to be refined so that I can hold this differently? You see, that is leadership, not letting fear make the final decision, but also not pretending that fear is not there. Because the goal is not to become fearless. The goal is to stop letting fear be the part of you making the final decision. And this is where resistance becomes a threshold. It is not always the enemy. Sometimes resistance is the doorway. It is the place where the old identity meets the new one. The old identity says, stay where it is familiar. Do it the way we know works. Don't risk being seen. Do not move until you are certain. Do not let go of control. And the new identity says on the other side of that doorway, it says, I can hold more. I can move differently. I can trust myself without having every outcome guaranteed. I can let this be unfamiliar without making it wrong. That is the identity shift. And this is exactly why I talk so much about calm authority, because calm authority is not passive. It's not sitting back and doing nothing. It's not waiting until every emotion disappears. Calm authority is the ability to stay connected to yourself while you move. It's the ability to hear the fear without handing it the steering wheel. It is the ability to refine what is leaking your energy instead of demanding that you perform through depletion. It's the ability to take the next grounded step without turning it into a pressure cycle. That is leadership. So, here is what I want you to take with you from this episode. The next time that you notice yourself resisting something you say you want, do not immediately collapse into shame. Do not immediately make it mean that you're lazy, inconsistent, or behind. Pause and get curious and ask yourself, am I resisting the desire, or am I resisting the expansion this desire requires? Because those are two different things, okay? Then I want you to ask, what capacity is this next level asking me to build? Maybe it is the capacity to be more visible. Maybe it is the capacity to be seen before you feel perfectly ready. Maybe it's the capacity to sell without spiraling. Maybe it's the capacity to receive more money without feeling like you have to over deliver or overextend. Maybe it is the capacity to be consistent without needing pressure to activate you. Maybe it's the capacity to be supported. Maybe it's the capacity to let your schedule, your environment, your body, and your business reflect the woman you are becoming instead of the woman you have outgrown. And then once you've spent some time in that space, I want you to then ask this next question. What is one grounded next step I can take? Not the dramatic step, okay? Not the pressure step, not the step that, oh, that proves, look, I'm serious, but the grounded step, the step that closes the loop, the step that shows your body we can move and still be safe. That is how capacity is built. Not by forcing yourself into expansion, but by teaching your body and identity that you can hold more without abandoning yourself. So let this land, let this just land in your body. Your next level is not blocked because you need more pressure. It may actually be waiting for the version of you who can move without abandoning herself. The version of you who does not need urgency to prove that she cares. The version of you who does not need chaos to feel productive. The version of you who does not confuse resistance with misalignment every time something feels unfamiliar. The version of you who can listen to fear without letting fear lead. The version of you who can refine her energy, protect her capacity, and take the next grounded step. Because you are not here to keep proving that you can survive pressure. You're here to learn how to lead from power. And that's the deeper work. And this is exactly the work we're doing inside of Lead Like Her. Okay. So, as I've said before, Lead Like Her is my 6-week leadership experience for high achieving women, for the woman who's ready to stop leading herself through pressure, proving, overthinking, and internal urgency and start leading from calm authority. So, inside of this experience, we're working with the deeper patterns underneath how you lead: your self trust, your emotional steadiness, your relationship with pressure, your standards, your identity, your capacity to hold more without abandoning yourself. So, if this episode activated something in you and spoke to you, I would love to invite you into Lead Like Her. Again, you can DM me on Instagram with the word lead, and I'll send you the details, or you can click the link in the show notes to learn more and enroll from that space. And again, as a reminder, if you have not watched the From Pressure to Power workshop yet, the replay is available only through tomorrow, Friday, May 22nd. And that workshop will give you a deeper look at this exact shift from performing power to actually embodying it. And so the link for that is in the show notes as well. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you listening and taking time out of your day to be with me in this conversation. And something that would mean a lot to me is if you are enjoying these episodes of the Kendra Woods Show, if you would leave a rating and a review, a 5-star rating and a review here where you're listening to your podcast, that supports this show so much and it'd be greatly appreciated. All right, until next time, lead yourself well.